Here's the truth. Starting a game is easy, but finishing one, that's where 99% of developers fail. We've all been there, with endless prototypes or that dream game sitting in your hard drive untouched for months. But finishing a game isn't about talent or even motivation. The most important parts are systems, mindset, and knowing how to manage yourself when excitement dies. In this video, I'll break down the habits and strategies that actually get games finished. From keeping scope realistic, to managing your energy, to handling that brutal final grind. Motivation versus discipline. Finishing a game is discipline. At the start, you have the motivation, the spark, but sparks fade. To keep the fire going, you're going to need discipline. Week 1 of your new game is ideas and cool mechanics. Then by week 3, you're bug fixing and reworking your temporary solutions. And this is where most projects die, because the rush of motivation is gone. Motivation is always nice, but you have to build systems that you can follow on low energy days. So how do you actually build those systems? Pick a daily task so small it's impossible to skip. Like 25 minutes spent on a project every day you plan to work. If you feel great, keep going. If you don't, you still moved the game forward. Always avoid skipping one day, but never skip 2 days. A bad 25 minutes beats a perfect plan you never touch. Make sure to anchor your dev time to something you already do. Like, I eat breakfast, then I open Unity, I work for 25 minutes, and then I write a check mark in my calendar. That tiny reward matters, like having a streak or writing +1 on your day's worked counter. Then make sure to end each session by writing one concrete next action. Tomorrow you don't fix the project, you fix the null reference in that script. Because getting started and lowering the activation energy is half the battle. Lastly, make starting effortless. One shortcut opens Unity, your project board and playtest scene. And also keep a dev playlist and a clean desk. It's usually friction that kills sessions before they even begin. And you can even gamify your discipline by tracking what makes finishing impossible. Have one stat that's days worked per week and have a target of maybe 4 to 6 days. Because frequency always beats marathon sessions. Then have a stat for finished tasks per week, where you pick 3 finishable outcomes every week. And then track your time in the editor with tools like Toggle Track to notice patterns when you actually do your best work. Data tells you when to schedule hard tasks and what to cut. Motivation asks, do I feel like it? Discipline asks, what's the next smallest step? You don't need a perfect day to finish a game. You need enough good, boring and consistent days. Those dots become builds. Builds become demos, and demos become releases. With discipline handled, the next level is how to slice your game so you're finishing something every single week. Small wins. Small wins makes you want to come back. Your brain needs proof that you're moving forward, today or at least this week. A small win is something you can finish in one sitting and see in the game. If it doesn't fit in a day, it's not a small win yet. So take the vague mountain and carve it into steps you can actually take. Don't say improve combat. Instead, say tune the knockback and give the boss a new weapon model. Don't say make the menu. Instead, clickable play and quit and a background. When the task state is clearly defined, is it done or is it not, momentum builds. You can run a really simple rule. 3 finishable outcomes per week. By Sunday, someone gets a build, even if it's scrappy. Letting a friend test the game and tell you what broke. Day to day, start with a 15 to 45 minute task you can close. Like fix the enemy stun not clearing after death. If you nail that early, the second win is always easier. From time to time, I run a small fixes work block to get rid of tiny annoyances, where I fix messy prefabs, fix spelling, fix small bugs, and normalize audio peaks. And then having those 10 micro-wins later makes the project so much lighter. I also track my time with Toggle to learn when real progress happens. And after a week, the pattern is usually obvious. My best feature work happens between 8:30 and 11 in the morning. So that's when I schedule it. And you have to make sure that your wins are visible, so that your brain believes you. Keep a tiny changelog in your repo or your notes and write one line per win. Or if you're up to it, record a 3 to 5 second GIF of anything visible and post it. And the biggest small win of all is a shipped build. Even if only one new thing is testable, ship on a cadence. Screenshot Saturday or a Sunday build to a friend, because shipping creates gravity and people expect the next one, and so do you. Then celebrate. Like seriously. Just adding a small thing as a checkmark in the task title that you finished makes a big difference. Or writing in your journal what worked this week, or maybe even take a 10-minute walk and let your brain register that we finished, because that feeling is fuel. Small wins stack into momentum. To protect that momentum, we need to keep the game finishable. And for that, we need to be ruthless about scope. Scope creep is how great ideas become fossils on your hard drive. If you want to finish your game, your scope has to be brutally small. And you have to be able to cut without guilt. Think one level, not a full game. One path from play to win/lose. That proves your core loop in 5 to 10 minutes. From the menu to the level to combat to reward and then back to the menu. That's version 1.0. Everything else is later. Dream big but ship small. You want to build next Skyrim? Awesome! Version 1.0 is a single dungeon with one boss, 3 enemies that feels different, not 10 different biomes, not branching skill trees, just a tight loop that ships. If you planned 10 enemy types, ship with 3 that cover different jobs. 1 pressure melee, 1 ranged and 1 disruptor. You'll get 80% of the gameplay with 30% of the work. That's the leverage you need to finish. And yes, cutting hurts, but shipped always beats perfect. The games that we admire today started the same way. Early Minecraft was basically just a blocky builder, but the difference is it released and it grew. Here's my filter for every idea. Does it make the first 10 minutes more fun or clearer? 2. Does it directly strengthen the core loop? 3. Will it explode complexity across other systems? If I can't say yes to the first 2, or I can say yes to the complexity bomb it goes to later. Complexity is a silent killer. 3 enemies times 3 weapons times 2 arenas is 18 interactions you're going to need to test. And if you add 7 more enemies to that, you're just multiplying bugs at that point. So you need an idea parking lot. When the what if we added thoughts appear, you don't argue with them, you park them. 1 sentence, a why and maybe a date. The idea is just not allowed to hijack your first version. You can also always try the trailer test. If it won't show up clearly in a 10-second teaser or in a store page bullet points, it's probably not a version 1.0 feature. Save it for the update where it can actually shine. Scope is about sequencing your vision. A tight 1.0 lets you learn from real players and earn the right to build the rest. With a finishable scope, planning gets simple. Now we can map a clear path to the finish line. One list that moves your prototype from working to finished. Planning and to-do lists. Finishing a game is mainly navigation. A clear plan turns "I hope this works" into "I know what to do next." Start from your 1 working level and write the map from play to credits in plain language. That's the route and everything else waits. Then make 1 source of truth. I usually use some sort of board like Trello, ClickUp or Notion. And add a few categories. It could be backlog, this week, doing, ready for build and done. If it's not on the board, it's not happening. Limit yourself to 1 or 2 tasks in the doing category. Multitasking usually feels productive, but it can murder momentum. Pull 1 card, finish it, and then move it to ready for build or done. Write tasks like outcomes. Verb plus result, like add a 20 millisecond hit flash to the player, or make play/quit clickable to load level 1. If a task can't be checked off in 1 session, split it until it can. Mark your critical path. Everything else is nice to have, which means later. Each Monday you pick the 3 finishable outcomes for the week. Each morning you then pick one of those and put them into the doing category. And then write the first actions you need to do. That could be open the enemy controller and add an damage control, thus lowering your activation energy to get started. When the board moves, the game moves. Crossing items is visible progress, and visible progress is what keeps you finishing. With the planning in place, the next challenge is pacing. To take breaks that resets your brain without killing momentum. Breaks can keep you creative and prevent burnout, but long gaps of not working on projects can also lead to not finishing games. A 2-week break can easily turn into a 2-month break, and then just opening the project hurts. Jams and tiny experiments are great for reset. A weekend can give you 1 mechanic or 1 effect you can bring back into the main game. The danger is coming back to a cold project with no idea where to start. So don't just stop. Instead, create a save point and leave breadcrumbs for future you. First, you can leave a note for your future self, preferably in your to-dos, and make sure to make it stupidly specific. You write, next, fix enemy combat, the enemy controller. Then review so that the dash works as intended. And when it's done, it looks like no errors, the enemy recovers, and that's tested in the first level. To get back into the flow, you have to start easy and just fix that one thing. Second, timebox the break and put the return in the calendar. Like on Monday at 9 AM, I'm going to return and fix that knockback bug and then ship a micro build. Because breaks are healthy because they have an end. On return, you can run a re-entry ritual. Play for just 2 minutes and write down one friction you feel. Fix only that and then hit build. If you take a jam break, set an intent. Steal one thing back. Be it a camera shake, a shader, a UI pattern, anything. Importing even a small win reconnects the project. Guard against scope explosions on return. New ideas will flood in, and that's great, but park them in the idea list. Because touch the critical path first, and then let yourself explore. Breaks should reset your brain, but to lock that in, we need to manage our energy with energy management. Finishing is about spending the right energy on the right thing at the right time. Everyone has a rhythm. Some of us are razor sharp at 9 in the morning, others unlock focus at 9 in the evening. Look at your last week and circle the sessions where you actually shipped something, because that's your peak. Put your hardest work there. You have to match the task for the fuel. High energy is for decisions and deep logic, like designing enemy behaviors or reworking the core loop. Medium energy is for content, like laying out spawn points or writing the tutorial. Low energy is for maintenance, like organizing folders or fixing tiny misalignments. In your to-do, tag tasks H for high, M for medium, or L for low, and start your deep window with one high energy task. For me, that's in the mornings. When the slump hits later, I slide down to low energy cards. Really simple tasks like align the pause menu, normalize sound effects, or clean unused materials. The goal is to try to make progress without depleting all your willpower. Make sure to protect your peak. Put your phone in another room. Turn off all notifications and have your editor in full screen. Give yourself a clear runway with water, headphones, and having the scene open that you're actually going to work with and the exact location you're going to be using. And then give it a 60-second playtest to find the first friction you feel and then fix that. Working cycles your brain can keep. 50 minutes work, then 10 minutes break, or 90 minutes work and then 50-minute break. When attention dips, take a real break. Stand up, breathe, or a quick walk. Recovery is part of the work. And then come back to one micro task you can close in 5 minutes to restart your engine. Burnout kills more games than bad ideas ever do. Make sure to cap your sprints and always leave 2 notches of energy so that you can return tomorrow. Because a sustainable average beats a heroic spike that ends in a week-long crash. Use your tracking to learn. If your best deep work shows up at 8:30 to 11, that's your daily boss fight. Guard it, push meetings, messages, and research rabbit holes outside that window. When your hardest work lives in your best hours, the game starts pulling you to the finish. And if a project does drain you dry, that's a signal too. Sometimes the most powerful move is letting go the right way. Archiving a dead project without losing what you learned. Sometimes finishing means letting go. The goal is to bank the value so that your next game ships faster. When a project stops moving, I'll run a short finishing ritual. 10 to 20 minutes now can save you weeks later. First, freeze the state, and then go through and make sure that your game is at least playable, so that your tools and assets can be reused in your future games. By doing this, you make it easier for future you to just copy already working systems. Then write a short page of lessons, findings, failures, and problems. Literally just set a 10-minute timer. 3 things that worked, 3 things that didn't, and 1 core lesson. And if you had to restart tomorrow, what are the first 3 steps you'd take? Keep it blunt and useful. And if you have the time, list out a few systems or tools that could be reused in future projects. Finally, zip the project and move it into an archive folder with a clear name and date. The moment you do this, mental RAM frees up. The project isn't haunting you. Now it's filed. So how do you know if it's time to archive it? When weeks go by with no meaningful change to the project, or when opening it creates dread instead of curiosity, because opportunity cost is real, and parking one thing usually unlocks momentum for the next one. And this is the twist. Archive projects become part spins. Like you can use your camera shake from prototype A and you can use the UI palette from prototype B and then the footstep routing from prototype C. You aren't wasting any of it, you're literally just compounding tons of tools and assets. Call it archive, not failed, because it's a stepping stone that you can actually stand on. Close it cleanly, take the lessons, keep the gold, and make sure to move that energy into something you can actually finish. And when you move into that final stretch, the grind feels different. So let's talk about the emotional side of finishing, why it gets harder when you're almost done, and how to push through that. Starting usually feels like fireworks, and finishing feels more like pushing a boulder. Early dev floods you with dopamine, new mechanics, new art, what if ideas. The finish line is quieter, with bug fixes, balance passes, and polish. It looks boring on a timeline, but it's the work that turns a prototype into a real game. Most devs quit right here, because it stopped being fun. But it didn't. The type of fun changed, from discovery to craftsmanship. When you feel that emotional dip, flip into finish mode. That means a clear scope and goal for version 1.0. A short finish list you can actually complete in the coming months. Polish is infinite, so you have to give it a budget. Maybe 2 weeks or 5 workdays. And you fix the input field by 10% and fix the top 5 player-facing bugs. And then add 3 good feel details. Then categorize everything. A category for must, with crashes, soft locks, and unreadable UI. And then a category for should, balance spikes and camera jitters. And then one category for could, nice to haves that can ship later. And then lastly, a category of won't, ideas you love but that would destabilize the build. Keep a little joy alive. Start every day with a little bit of play, just to feel your game. Then move on to your to-do list and turn on your shipping playlist. If you feel an anxiety spike when you think about releasing, call it what it actually is, fear of being seen. Try and overcome that by sending it to a friend and just asking one question. What confused you with my game? You have to capture progress you can see, like one more completed task or a 1 5-second GIF in your win log. Boring work doesn't feel boring when you watch the pile of wins grow. Finishing is like the last 2 kilometers of a marathon. Your legs hurt, your brain tells stories, but the crowd gets louder because the finish line is near. So don't go looking for a new race. Just lean forward and push the last stretch. If you need to, give the emotion a container. A kind of release day ritual. Build, upload, and update the page. Send it to 3 people, take a walk, and then celebrate. Then write down the first goals for the next week so your momentum survives the high. It won't be perfect, but it will feel done. And done is the doorway to every game you'll make after this. Finishing is discipline, small wins, ruthless scope, a clear plan, smart breaks, and managing your energy, especially when the dopamine's gone. So here's your move. Pick one finishable task, set a 25-minute timer, and ship a tiny build by Sunday to one friend. Anyone can start a game, but developers, they finish them.